Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of The Agenda with Maria. I do have someone that I'm super excited with to join me on this new episode. She came all the way from Clovis, New Mexico. Everyone, welcome Hannah Figg. And I'm so excited for you to tell us about this chapter that you hold here in the Texas Panhandle called Cowgirls and Cocktails. So tell me a little bit about it. And, well, actually, before you tell me about it, tell me about your background in ag and your professional background in general.
Yeah, so I actually grew up not far from here. I grew up in a little town called Earth, Texas, about 45 minutes south of Hereford. And so I'm a Texas Panhandle girly through and through. I moved off and went to school at Texas A&M for an ag communications and journalism degree in 2018. And so after that, I started working at Sam Houston State for about a year, and then I found my current job with the North Texas Fair and Rodeo. I am their marketing and media manager, and so I worked there in Denton, Texas for about two and a half years. And then I ended up moving back to the area. I got engaged to the first boy who ever asked me to be his girlfriend. So I always said I would never move back to the Dust Bowl here, but it's funny how life works out. And now I still have that job working for the North Texas Fair and Rodeo, but I do it remotely. And so I grew up, around agriculture, and that's always been my passion, is the storytelling within that.
So that is so neat that you say that, because you would have thought that someone that's working, for North Texas would be in the North Texas area. So I'm super glad that you still have, your passion and the job that you love to do. But quickly talk about, do you guys do anything out in Clovis, New Mexico? You and your husband or your family that's here? In the Texas Panhandle, what do they do?
Yeah, so my dad has been an animal health salesman for Animal Health International based out of Clovis, but they have a warehouse and store in Hereford, and he's over, the entire Panhandle area. So he's very involved in agriculture, selling to a lot of the dairies around here. And then my husband's family, his parents are part owners of the sale barn there in Clovis, so very involved in the cattle industry. He team ropes on top of being a middle school teacher and high school football coach.
Wow.
So, we're very involved within the industry in that way as well. And then I also do freelance writing for various magazines and brands and publications within the Western space.
So actually, I did, a little research like you have to do when you have, guests.
Yes.
You were part of the Cowgirls 30 under 30.
Yes.
Last year. Or the year before.
I guess it was not this last class, but the year before. Yes.
Actually, can you talk about that? Because I think that is so interesting. Not a lot of people can do this. And first of all, to get nominated and continue to get voted on, can you talk quickly about it if you can?
Absolutely. So Cowgirl Magazine started this 30 under 30 program when I was in college. And so a lot of the first ladies that were selected were ladies that I followed on social media or whatever it may be and really looked up to.
Yeah.
And so I kind of had my eyes set on that from the time I started figuring out what it is I wanted to do for a career. And then actually Lexi Hoagland, she's the founder of the original Cowgirls and Cocktails group in the DFW area. She was part of that same class with me as well. And then some other girls that are part of the group here, they were also part of that same class with me that year.
That is so neat. And first of all, again, going just back to this organization, it focuses mostly on women in agriculture. I mean, obviously You're not going to tell, a man you can't have any resources that we have. But I really do love that you guys have this slogan of trying to build, I think you have aiming to build a longer table instead of a taller fence for women in the Western and ag industry. So talk about that slogan and what you guys are actually doing as far as the events to make that goal.
Yeah, so Cowgirls and Cocktails is a social club dedicated to building a longer table and not a taller fence, like you said, for women in the ag and Western industry. It was founded in 2022, I believe, by Lexi Hoagland in the DFW area. She originally began her career in the construction industry, and so then when she began working in the Western industry, she quickly realized that we did not have the same happy hours, networking events, that kind of thing, especially for women in the Western industry. And so she kind of just took it upon herself to start having these happy hours and these events for women in our industry to connect.
Yeah.
And so I got involved that way. And then when I moved back, of course, that was kind of the one thing that I felt I was going to have to give up.
Right.
I was moving back to get married and moving closer to both of our families. I was keeping my job, but I was really going to miss having those girlfriends and those connections and getting to network with like-minded women in our industry especially. And so I talked to Lexi, and she was all for starting a group here in this area. She had been in the area some, and she also saw that there's a lot of women in ranching and farming and agriculture and just the Western lifestyle here as well. Mm-hmm. And it's a different dynamic here than it is there, because in DFW it is so concentrated, and there's a lot of business women and career-driven women right there in that area. Mm-hmm. So it's a little bit more intimate here, and that's just a different dynamic that I've recognized is we have events here that aren't so much focused on the event itself, but creating those relationships. A lot of the women that come to these events here, we're really building connections and fostering those relationships where we have intimate connections and we really have good conversations. And so it might not be as big of a group, but we're getting to have those really meaningful conversations and get to know one another.
See, and that is so neat, because you can meet someone that's probably like interested in just like the cattle part of it, mm-hmm. and someone that may be interested in like the farming part of it, like even if it's just like the markets farm, you know, like growing their own vegetables, growing their own, you know, stuff that they can actually take to these small local markets. So I think that's pretty interesting. It's interesting to see, especially that you guys are doing that here in the Texas Panhandle, because like you mentioned, in the DFW, everything's so fast paced and mm-hmm. it's so different. So
it is.
I love that they give you that opportunity for you to be doing that. So you've been doing it here in the Texas Panhandle now for a year and a half then?
Yes, we started the group here, I guess it was April of 2024, mm-hmm. so about a year and a half, and we try to have an event once a month. That doesn't always happen, but mm-hmm. for the most part, I try to have an event once a month, whether that's in Lubbock or Amarillo, you know, and that's another thing is a lot of the women here, we're more spread out. So right. we have women in Lubbock, we have women in Amarillo, and then there's women everywhere in between and outside of those areas. So I kind of try and spread it out and, you know, really get everybody involved that we can.
So you're including not only the women in the Texas Panhandle, though, but like in eastern New Mexico as well. So what is, I guess, yes. like the radius that you guys have there?
Yeah, so most of our events, like I said, are in Lubbock and Amarillo, mm-hmm. but we have women from all the way in Hobbs and, you know, eastern New Mexico, Clovis areas. So we have women from quite a wide area coming to our events, just because that is the way it is here in the Panhandle. You know, we're a little bit more spread out, but we're used to driving here for sure.
That's what I've always heard. I mean, even people from the Oklahoma Panhandle, they're like, you know, from them to here to Amarillo, it's just about a 2-hour difference.
Right.
Which is the same if you were to travel from Amarillo to Lubbock. So it's like, for them, it doesn't seem that far. Mm-hmm. But when you kind of look at it and like the map, it's like, that's kind of far.
Yeah.
But I absolutely love that. So you guys have an event coming up this Saturday, November 15th, during the Working Ranch Cowboy Association Ranch Rodeo. Can you tell us a little bit about that event?
Yeah, so of course the WRCA World Championship Ranch Rodeo happens this coming weekend, starts mm-hmm. Thursday through Sunday. And that's a big event for this area, you know. We're very ranch focused here, and everybody here, they go to this event and they know everybody, and that's kind of a place where a lot of people connect and, you know, like a reunion of sorts. And so I wanted to make sure we had an event for a lot of those women who were coming in for the Ranch Rodeo Finals. Mm-hmm. And so we are going to have a little coffee date Saturday morning before all of the Ranch Rodeo fun really kicks off that day. So at Small Talk Coffee Co., it used to be Roast and Toast in the First Bank Southwest Tower. in their lobby. They're going to open up from 9 to 11 this Saturday, November 15th. And we're just going to get together and, come and go and meet some other women in the Western industry and have some coffee and breakfast and get the day started.
So it's not all about cocktails either.
No.
Like,
Yes.
I love that because I'm actually a huge coffee person. But is there any people that women should be looking forward to seeing being there, or just like your regular members already, or who would you, I guess, say for people to look forward to seeing there?
Yeah, so our group, we have really everybody in our group. We have women who, do cattle research, who are equine dentists, who raise money for students in ag, who teach ag, business women, business owners, boutique owners. For this event in particular, I think we'll see some of those women from a little bit farther outside of the Panhandle area maybe who know about our group, but it's a little bit harder for them to get here normally. With them being in town, I hope to see some of those ladies come out and get to interact with some fellow women. When you're in this lifestyle, it can be hard to get together with women in the industry when you're surrounded by cattle and horses and just your family all the time, because that is the reality of the Western lifestyle a lot of times. And so it is really nice for women in this area to have a chance to get together and have some girl time. But of course, this weekend, bring your husbands, bring your kiddos,
Yeah, everybody's welcome.
Everybody's welcome.
Yeah. I love that. So I wanted to quickly ask you, so what is something that you would tell for someone that may not have any ag background, but let's say they have just this interest? What would you like to say to them, especially now that we have such huge platforms that they can get so much information on social media? What would you like to say to them?
Yeah, well, ag is not just the farmers and ranchers, here in the Panhandle. It is that a lot of times, but, ag is, like I said, the people who are teaching ag, who are, promoting ag, like your full-time job in journalism and, media, but you're also promoting ag as an advocate. That's so special. And that's what I think a lot of people don't realize, is there is a role within the ag industry for so many people in so many different ways, whether that's event production like I do, or, whatever it may be. There's just a lot of different avenues to get involved. And so I think if that's something you're passionate about, there's always a space. And that's a lot of what our group is about. Lexi, when she created this group, was very adamant on it always being a welcoming environment for everybody. We never want anybody to feel like they don't belong or that they don't have a place, because there is a place for everybody in our industry. And so we hope that women especially will feel comfortable at all of our events and just getting involved. And so I think that's the first step for people who might just be interested, is finding a way, whether it's this group or another group, to just get involved and learn from other women or people in the industry. I think that's a big thing. Lexi is also having a big event in Las Vegas during the NFR, and so many people go to the NFR who maybe aren't directly involved in ag and the Western lifestyle every day. But that's one way that they can, meet other women who are, and learn and grow and network with those people. So if you're interested in that event, that will be December 6th in Vegas. They're having a tea party for the Cowgirls and Cocktails group.
That is so sweet. I really do actually have so many different type of things. Again, it's just not the cocktail part that people may think.
Yes. When you hear the name, I think that is, one of those things that people might, it might give them a little hesitation, is the Cowgirls and Cocktails, but it's not just cocktails. If you want to come and have a glass of tea with us, that is exactly what we want. So
I love that. And I do love that you highlighted that it's just a matter of trying to make yourself get involved by just going to an event. So people don't have to become a member of Cowgirls and Cocktails. They don't have to have land. They don't have to.
No. Yeah, no, I think the biggest thing is, of course, we are big on, the women who are involved and work within the industry in some way. But if you're just interested and passionate about this way of life, we want you to be involved as well. So, if you are just somebody who loves ag or loves horses or, loves this lifestyle, we want you to join as well. And so it's super simple. Just follow us on Instagram, join the Facebook group, and that's how you find out about our events, and we would love to have you.
It does not get more welcoming than that, and I love that. Before we go, I did want to ask you, what goals did you have for the chapter that you have here in the Texas Panhandle? Where would you like for it to go in, the next couple of years, or maybe, further than that? Where would you like for it to go in general?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to see the group grow. We have about 300 or so members in the Facebook group right now. It's a private Facebook group. So, we accept, making sure that you're a real person and interested in the industry.
Yeah.
But then I would love past that to see those connections forming, because it really is, for me, especially here in this chapter, about seeing those relationships being built.
Yeah.
We would love to have the most women possible at all of our events, of course, but more so than that, it's really getting to know one another and having those friendships and those relationships where when you're looking for a job, you have those people you can reach out to. When you are, trying to learn something about a different aspect of the industry, you have those trusted sources to reach out to and learn from. So I think that's the biggest thing, is creating a network and a friendship of women who you trust and you feel comfortable with, and who you really get to know throughout the, different events that we have here in the area.
See, and I love that so much, and I really do appreciate you coming on here and kind of explaining that to me, because when I first looked at it, because I, wanted to join the group and everything, and I'd be like, let me see what this is all about, and I ask you a couple questions, just to make sure that, like you said, that you're not a robot, just
right. That's all it is.
But I do love how welcoming it is. Like, you don't have to attend every single event.
No.
You can attend the ones that you want. And I did see that, I believe in Lubbock, was the painting one that you guys had?
Yes, we just had a painting one. We've done that another time here at the Quarter Horse Museum as well. Wow. So we've done a couple events at the Quarter Horse Museum so far. We've had some really neat events. We had a dinner club style one in Lubbock one night at one of the girls' houses, and we just all, brought a dish and sat around the table and talked. And so that's really special when you get to just have that time to sit around and visit.
I really do think that if this is something that you guys are interested in, or if you even have any questions of anything ag-related, this is a perfect club to be in, because again, like she said, it comes from different women, whether it's, vets, people that are farming and ranching, people that are, out in the local markets every spring or every, fall. Definitely check them out. And if there's anything else that you would like to say for anybody that may have misconceptions of the ag industry, or, like we talked about, people that may not be in the ag industry in general, is there something that you would like to say before we close out the episode?
I would just like to say that, we are here to share why we do what we do. Mm-hmm. Everybody within the Western and the ag space would love to sit and talk with people who either have misconceptions or are just interested and want to learn. I think it has grown so much lately, the Western and the ag space in general. Mm-hmm. And so it's really important that everybody feels welcome and they feel embraced by, all of us who are directly involved every day. Yeah. And that's why we do what we do. We are always trying to grow those industries. And so, like I said, if you have misconceptions or you just want to visit, I would just encourage you to connect with some of those individuals who do this every day and, learn from them and hear their perspective.
Well, thank you so much, Hannah, for being on here. I know, again, like I said, you came all the way down from eastern New Mexico, so we really do appreciate you coming down to Amarillo. And if you want to see her, check out their event, again, on Saturday, the 15th. You said it started at what time again?
9 to 11.
So you can go out there and see all the women. But again, it's open to your kids, husbands, cousins, aunts, uncles, whatever you guys want it to be. Just make it, a fun time during that brunch time. So thank you so much, Hannah. And that will do it for another episode of The Agenda with Maria.